Okay, hey everyone, AF and Bye here. Welcome back to another video where today I'm just gonna show you a London against the Caro-Kann. For those of you who don't know, yes, the London is my bread and butter for classical games. In Blitz, Rapid, and Bullets, I prefer quick attacking games like the Halloween Gambit, the Black Mardemer Gambit, the Danish Gambit. However, watch and learn. This is the Accelerate London. Don't worry, I'll still recap the candidate sets today. One more thing, folks. We're getting really close to April 16th, which is the last day of my sale of the Unlock Your Inner Commander book. Get it now, $13.99 Canadian, $10 USD, or pay $12 USD and $16 Canadian after. Okay, let's get started. D4, C6. Now we play bishop to F4. This is the accelerated London, and the opponent plays D5. This is the Caro-Kann. Okay, this is the Caro-Kann. I don't know much about the Caro-Kann, but I know the opening in terms of the first four moves. However, that's not what we're here to focus on. We're focusing on the London and how it works against pretty much most openings. Okay, E3, knight to F6, knight to F3, bishop to G4, pinning my knight to my queen, knight BD2, defending that knight and allowing my queen to move in the future, C5, C3. Normally, when your opponent plays C5, you want to play C3 solely if they capture, you can capture and still have this pyramid-ish type of build, right? Notice how this is still a pyramid, and you want to keep this intact as much as you can, okay? Knight to C6, bishop to D3, normal looking moves. Now all my minor pieces are developed, and my opponent plays C takes D4. Normally, this is okay. Normally, you would play C takes D4. However, since I don't want this knight to ever get into the B file, I play E takes D4. I have now opened up the E file, but my king is completely safe due to all the pieces being in the back rank. Okay, here we go. E6, castles, and bishop to D6. Bishop to D6. Normally, if you haven't castled, you can drop the bishop to G3, and if bishop takes G3, you would do H takes G3, opening up your rook. But I have castled here, so I played bishop to G5, pinning the knight to the queen. My opponent drops the bishop to E7, and I play H3 to kick the bishop. Bishop takes F3, queen takes F3, double attacking, putting more pressure on the F6 knight. Opponent castles, and here bishop takes F6. Bishop takes F6 because I want to plant my queen on to H5 and create problems in the future. We have bishop takes F6, queen to H5, and opponent plays H6 because if he didn't, he would get checkmated. Let me show you. So bishop, let's say opponent did something like, I don't know, rook to, like, here, we'll click analysis at some point, but I'll run this through, okay? But this would be checkmate here, right? This would be threatening checkmate because the king has no legal squares after. Or if he does, he goes here, check, king moves to F, and queen to H is mate. Okay, anyway, here we go. H6, and knight to F3. Knight drops back to E7. Knight to E5. Knight to E5, purpose being, if bishop takes E5, queen takes E5, and I'm doing better. But my second purpose was to actually just straight up throw the knight in here and to prevent this knight from jumping here, right? Okay. My opponent does exactly that. My opponent plays bishop takes E5, queen, and I repeat with queen takes E5. and my opponent jumps the knight to g6 anyway. What do? Bishop takes g6. Bishop takes g6, f takes g6, and now our opponent has a open f file, or semi-open f file, not an issue. Queen gets dropped to g3, looking at this weak pawn. What does my opponent do? Queen to f6, defending that pawn. Okay, again, don't have to worry about this because it's connected 3 pawns. It's much harder to remove these pawns. So I play f4. f4, looking to undermine these pawns. Okay. Opponent plays queen to f5, and I bring my last b2 bomber with rook a to e1. Rook a to e1, because if this pawn were to ever fall, my f rook will be active anyway. Okay. Rook a e8, and rook to e5, rook to e5, attacking the queen, putting pressure on this pawn in the future, long run, because I want to bring the queen this way maybe and put pressure this way. And my opponent drops the queen to f6. I play king to h1, stepping away from any discovered attacks, and my opponent plays g5. Now g5, best case scenario, you let this pawn die. You give this pawn up, because defending this pawn is not worth it. If you take, you get checkmated. Okay, so I play rook f e1, opponent takes, g takes f4, and queen goes to g4. Queen to g4, opponent plays f3. f3, don't worry, it's not scary at all. I play rook takes e6, and my opponent plays f takes g2 check. Cool, calm, collected. King to h2. King to h2 prevents a lot of things, because if I were to move my king here, this would be check, takes, mate. Right? Okay, so he promotes. He promotes his g1 equals queen. King takes g1. Rook takes e6. And here you trade off the queens with rook, or queen takes e6 check. Queen takes e6, rook takes e6. Here we are. This endgame is more favorable for white because the rook is more active. My opponent plays rook to ef7, rook to f7, preventing my rook on the 7th rank, because pigs on the 7th are a pain. Okay, because they will gobble up everything. Okay. Rook to e5. Rook to e5, looking to attack the e6 pawn. So what does my opponent do? Rook to d7. Rook to d7, protecting the e7 pawn, or e6 pawn. King to g2, king to f7, king to g3. Notice my opponent plays king f6, but cannot take the rook because my e5 pawn, e4 pawn is defending my rook on e5, my d4 pawn. Sorry. King to g4, and my opponent plays g5, h4, rook to e7, looking to trade. Nope. H takes g5 check. H takes g5. Rook to f5 check. King goes to e6. And king takes g5. Notice now I have nothing to worry about. And we have a 4-on-3. I am winning. Okay. Opponent plays king to d6. Rook to f6 check. Rook to e6. Cool, calm, collected. King to f5. King to f5. Rook takes f6 check. King takes f6. And now this is opposition. What does my opponent do? Well, he plays a5. a5, a4. You stop that nonsense right there. He plays b6. b3. Another Zugzwang. My opponent plays king to d7. King to e5. King to e5 prevents this king. King to d6. So now my opponent is kind of stuck on the 7th rank. Okay, what does my opponent play? My opponent plays king to c6, king to c6, followed by b4, b4, and my opponent plays a takes b4, c takes b4, and my opponent resigns because there's no way you're stopping any of these pawns. Let's say you were trying to stop these pawns, then this pawn will run. If you try to stop this pawn, I'll push here, you take, and now you have to come stop my a pawn again. Okay, let's just take a look at analysis real quick. Let's just hit analysis board. Yep, as you can see, I'm winning. And yeah, like I said, if you try to come stop one of these pawns, let's say by doing this, well, I will make a run for it. You do this, well, now this pawn falls. And you can try all you want. You can try to create opposition. This pawn runs. You have to go back here. And I will actually step my king here, looking to take this pawn. King has to step here. And while he steps there, you lose all these pawns, and it's a 3-on-none. I win this endgame. Okay? Again, like I said, I will recap the candidates today. I just wanted to show this. I played this yesterday, and I just wanted to show you how the London is very playable against most openings that people don't really look into. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and have a great day. Peace.